Good morning, back out here in the nursery. Beautiful weather again this week with our friends here, the pear and the dogwood. We're going to talk about wounding. This is one of the most controversial garden topics that you might discuss. It might be more riveting than politics and religion, to be honest, because there's a lot of misinformation or confusing information about how these plants work. I'm going to give you the information and you can decide for yourself of this controversial topic. So I brought the dogwood because it's one plant when you put it in the nursery, in the garden, that it is very tender to being wounded. It's not a plant that you want to let the grass grow up right up against and you use the weed eater and weed whack around the stem itself. It doesn't take kindly to that, but there's also some things that can injure your plant that are just part of Mother Nature. Mother Nature can have an instance in the winter time, especially in the Erie area, that'll be called frost splitting. So when you see the cold temperatures outside and then the sun comes up, what happens is that tree was cold all night long. All those cells are still alive, they're still soft and supple and carry water, but they were very, very cold all night. When the sun comes up and hits one side of the plant, those cells warm and expand so fast that it can actually split bark. Sometimes in the early morning in a wooded area, you can hear the cracks and pops of that plant, and that'll be something called frost split. How do we protect against some of these wounds? In the fall, you can put on a protector like this. It is extremely valuable in plants like the dogwood and all young plants that have very soft young tissue on that stem area. This protects against wounds like the frost splitting, deer rubbing on it, and bunnies. When the bunnies come and chew all the way around the plant, it's called girdling. That's very, very important to protect against because of that cambium layer. Underneath this exterior surface of the bark is one fine little layer that moves all the water and nutrients up and down the stem, from the leaves to the stem to the roots. Protecting that cambium layer is very important. So the controversial side of this, what happens if we get a wound? For many years, there's been a product like this called tree wound dressing. I'm going to kind of show you the controversial side of that and my beliefs, don't send me any hate mail, on when and what we use tree wound dressing for. Mother Nature has the natural ability for that cambium layer to grow and heal and clean up an area that has been wounded. If it's an area that's been, say, bumped by a lawnmower, that's a tear, your best friend is a nice sharp razor. Take that sharp razor and trace that outside edge. So instead of being a poor jagged edge, it's nice and clean and sharp, and that plant will naturally heal and cover itself up by healing that cambium layer. The controversial side, tree wound dressing. This is a black tarry material. It's like something that you would be similar to sealing your blacktop driveway with. This actually hinders insects from coming in, but it also hinders the growth of that cambium layer. Use this only on areas that are just dead stump that you cut off, like the top of a rose bush, and then it grows continually out the side. If it's a wound that will heal, small, that you've traced, let that cambium layer heal itself, because once you apply this, it stops that cambium layer from growing. So check out our A to Z gardening next week, which is going to be our third lesson with these two trees on properly wounding or pruning the material that you see next to me. For any questions on tree wound dressing and protecting your plant material in the fall and winter season, contact any of us professionals here at Stan's.